Hello. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Erica LaShawn, and tonight it is November 19th, 2022. It's 9:01 p.m. It's Saturday. Tomorrow's Sunday. Thank you for stopping by. Once again, my name is Erica LaShawn. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you're new here, thank you. If you're not new here, thank you. Welcome. So, we're going to get right into it. As I said in a previous video, I am into a lot of different things. I have a vivid imagination. I like to think. I'm a thinker. I'm a visionary. I'm one of those. I be up in my head. I be thinking about stuff. I'm like 5 years ahead right now. I'm already decorating a house that I don't have. That's how far I go. I'm looking at washers and dryers and curio cabinets and stuff like that. So anyway, thank you for stopping by. Today's topic is and I said before, I have a dark side. I am into murder, mayhem, serial killing. They call it true crime now. That's a new thing. True crime. It's all the same to me. Uh and I have to tackle this because I was like, no, I'm gonna tackle this because I want to talk about it. I'm interested in it, and somebody else is too. Whether it's one person, it's a whole community. I'm gonna talk about human cannibalism. I know it's gross, but anyway, so Wikipedia and them said that human cannibalism is the act or practice of humans eating the flesh of internal organs or other human beings. A person who practices cannibalism is called a cannibal. This is like elementary, we all know. But anyway, the meaning of quote unquote cannibalism has been extended into zoology to describe an individual of a species consuming all or part of another individual of the same species as food, including sexual cannibalism. I'm not touching that. I just saw that. Okay. So, so let's stop here. Again, one might say, why do you think about this stuff? I don't know. To answer your question, I really don't know. I find things like this fascinating. It boggles my mind, and I like to know. I studied psychology in my undergrad. Um, my major in psychology, minor in social work. I'm into people. I'm into brains and minds and stuff. So, and I'm giving this intro because it's a part that I want to get to, but I have to work up to it. So basically, it's eating people, really, basically. And sometimes, if I'm in the right circles, if I'm feeling comfortable, if the conversation is flowing good, I might say, oh, so what you think about that? It's a conversation piece. But anyway, and I'm going to jump around a whole lot. This is one that I was like, oh my God. And I'm gonna do it, and I'm not. It's here, so you'll hear a lot of paper. But the island Carib, Carib, people of the lesser and Antilles. Now I got my girl ready because I knew I was gonna stumble through this. So you're gonna hear a lot of clicking. I want to make sure I pronounce things properly. So this word right here, real quick. This is this is where I guess I just want to say it.
Antilles.
Antilles. So the island Carib, people of the Lesser Antilles, from whom the word cannibalism is derived, acquired a long-standing reputation as cannibals after their legends were recorded in the 17th century period. I went up on my voice like I was going to, period. Some controversy exists over the accuracy of these legends and the prevalence of the actual cannibalism in the culture. Cannibalism was practiced in New Guinea and in parts of the Solomon, I have to use my finger, the Solomon Islands, and flesh markets existed in some parts of Malaysia. Fiji was once known as the Cannibal Isles, quote unquote. Cannibalism has been well documented in much of the world, including Fiji, the Amazon Basin, Basin, the Congo, and the Maori people, Maori. There is an accent over the A. I think I'm a perfectionist and I don't know it. And that's not what I asked. Oh, it is.
Maori.
Maori. Thank you, girl. And the Maori people of New Zealand, period. Netherlands are believed to have practiced cannibalism, and people from the Netherlands may have been eaten by anatomically modern humans. Cannibalism was also practiced in ancient Egypt, Roman Egypt, and during famines in Egypt, such as the Great Famine of 1119 to 1202. Let me stop there. Oh, so, okay, there was a movie, and it was released in 1993 called Alive. And a lot of us have, I never saw it, but it was a movie where, let's just get into it. Alive was released in 1993. It was an American biographical survival drama film based on Piers Paul Reed's 1974 book Alive, the story of the Andes survivors, which details a Uigurian rugby team's crash aboard Uigurian Air Force Flight 571 into the Andes Mountains on October 13th, 1972. So it was a movie. I never saw it. It was called Alive. It was released in 93. I graduated in high school in 93, so I really wasn't, I'm trying to move on with my life or whatever, but I knew about it. But a bunch of rugby players, their plane crashed in the Andes Mountains, and basically the whole movie, I may get back to it and watch it in my spare time, but basically it got to the point where they were looking at each other like they were starving, and they were like, okay, what are we gonna do? I'm not, Wikipedia, there are survivors, there are deceased people. They had to eat each other to survive. And I like to throw that question out, and I say, well, what would you do if you were in that position? Would you eat your friend? A lot of people say no. But you just say that, right? But I don't know anyone who's ever been in this situation before. So if it's life or death, like for real though, I like to do a little joke and say, I might cut off a butt cheek. If it's down to life and death, I got to get home to my family. I got to get home to my friends. If this is what's on the line, put your money where your mouth is. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. A form of cannibalism popular in early modern Europe was consumption of body parts or blood for medical purposes. This practice was at its height during the 17th century, although as late as the second half of the 19th century, some peasants attending an execution are recorded to have, quote unquote, rushed forward and scraped the ground with their hands that they might collect some of the bloody earth, which they subsequently crammed into their mouth in hope they might thus get rid of their disease. So that's a totally different thing. That's totally different. There are people that do this for fun. Not for fun. Oh my God. Cause they like it. I guess. I don't wanna I'm gonna flip around a whole lot. So let's just get to it. There's a man by the name of, and he's from Germany, so I had to cue him. He already ready.
Armin Moose.
Armin Moose. Now he's so into this, I can look him up and the girl will tell me who he is. Armin Muse. ARMINMEIWES. Now, Armin Muse. Now, look it up. The history of cannibalism. All right, this guy right here, Armin Muse.
Armin Moose.
Armin Moose. Thank you. See, that's okay. Armin Moose. Now, he was born on December 1st. I'm going to take a whole swing. So, disclaimer, trigger alert. If you queasy, if you don't like this type of stuff, click off now. Armin Moose was born on December 1st, 61, like I said, is a German former computer repair technician who received international attention for murdering and eating a voluntary victim in 2001, whom he had found via the internet. So this is what got me. So forget all that other stuff about people needing to survive, and I'll get back onto the rugby players that had to do it, which made the movie. This guy right here. All right. After Moose, and it's Moose, not Muse. It looked like Muse. Moose. After Moose and the victim jointly attempted to eat the victim's severed penis, Moose killed the victim and proceeded to eat a large amount of his flesh. So let me stop there. There are two. They made movies out of this. I looked them up before I did this. I was like, let me do a little homework. And it wasn't available to me. One film was called Grimm Love, GRIMMLOVE, in parentheses, German title, Rothenberg, 2006. It was a feature film directed by Martin Weitz, WEISZ, and starring Kerry Russell. It was banned in Germany after Muse complained that his personality rights had been violated. Yeah, because you can't use people's name and likeness without their permission. So I guess he was like, I be eating people, but I ain't say y'all can say I be eating people, basically. The ban was lifted by Germany's highest civil court after an appeal. The film won multiple awards at the 2006 Festival des Cinq Festival des Citges. I don't want to mess up the girl. Putting all that stuff in it, including Best Director, Best Actor, and 2 male leads, and Best Cinematography. There's another movie called Cannibal in 2006. Is a direct-to-video horror film based on Muses and Brandes, Brandes. That's the victim. We're going to get to that. It was a view on the eater, the cannibal, and the victim, Brandes. But see, the twist is Brandes. Let me see. The thing is, Brandes, he wanted it. and it won't do it. Okay. She don't do personal names and stuff. It depends. She's fickle. Anyway, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But the victim, Brandes, through the character, they do not have names. They were referred only as quote unquote the man and quote unquote the flesh. The film was directed and produced by Marian Dora, Mariandora, and stars actors Carsten Frank, Carstenfrank, Victor Brandy, and Manoush, Manoush. The film was banned in Germany. Other films based on the case include Rosa von, Perhumans, Danes Heinz, and Minim Him. In parentheses, Your Heart in My Brains, and Ulli, Ulli, Lommels, Lommel apostrophe S, called Diary of a Cannibal. So let's get to moves. So basically, Armin Muse. Now, the U.S. Sun posted this, and on May 20th, 2022, it was updated the same day. Y'all stop it. And they have 2 different timestamps. All right, so it starts in 2021, cannibal killer Armin Muse killed his victim before storing his corpse to eat over the next 10 months. I didn't know that. Here is everything you need to know about the grisly murder and where the German killer is now. This right here is a snippet of it. Here's a picture. Okay. He was born in December of 1961. And I said that in a German former computer. He was born in December 1961. Is a German former computer technician who filmed himself cutting off voluntary victim Bernd, Bernd, Brandes. He cut off his penis before killing him in 2001. I tried to look the film up, the documentary up. I was like, oh my God, don't scare yourself. But I wanted to have more info. Couldn't find it. Here we go. So, look, let me go to... I'm going to give Wikipedia a nickname. Anyway, Armin Muse, he had two older half-brothers from his father's previous relationship with another woman. His father abandoned Armin when he was 8, leaving him to be raised by his mother. During sessions with police experts, Muse had explained that his desire for cannibalism related to the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel. Had developed during his adolescent years. He had also described himself as feeling, quote unquote, very lonesome after, quote unquote, quote unquote, the family had fallen apart. I'm going to jump all around on this one. Basically, this man went on the internet and said, I want to eat somebody. Is anybody willing? And somebody said yes. That's Brandes. That's the victim, the late victim. And I'm doing this because I just want to do it. So when it gets to the murder of Brandes And Moose Moose was looking for a willing volunteer. He posted an advertisement on the then active website The Cannibal Life, in parentheses, a defunct forum for people with a cannibalism fetish. Now, you can say what you want, but I live in New York and don't make me. Oh, well. There was a cop here that he he kind of got caught out there because he was involved in this form of fetish. And he didn't get convicted because he didn't eat anybody. So they weren't able to convict him. He had a good lawyer because his lawyer was like, he didn't eat anybody. A fantasy is a fantasy. You know what I'm saying? You can't charge my client if he didn't eat anything, eat anybody. And, he may be sick or whatever. But, so real quick. So in the New York Times, it was a thing. Oh God. And I read this. It was a police officer. He was convicted. Oh, he was convicted on Tuesday. Okay, so he was convicted on kidnapping. So they didn't really get him on the grossness of cannibalism, but he was convicted on a plot of kidnapping. And I'm gonna jump around. Basically, his wife stumbled onto his computer and she found that he was a part of one of these forums, one of these cannibalism forums. And she said at first she thought he was cheating because his behavior changed. He was sneaking around the computer. He was all guarded or whatever. So she thought he was having an affair. So she went in and discovered her husband was a part of this forum. And she saw that he was talking to different individuals about, they were sharing fantasies. It was like a chat room of sorts. And he was exchanging fantasies with other people about eating people. But then he threw in his wife. That's when she got scared. So that's when it all went. He started to talk in the chat room about, what about eating my wife? And then whoever he was talking to was like, yeah, we could do this. We could put her on the grill and stuff like that. So it scared the mess out of her. So that's how it broke. So he really didn't do anything. And they didn't get him on doing anything, but they got him on plotting to kidnap. All right, so in a bizarre plot to kidnap, torture, kill, and eat women, ending a trial whose outcome hinged on a delicate distinction between fantasy and reality. Like I said, the lawyer was like, look, he's sick, but, he ain't do nothing. The trial had drawn widespread attention, in part because it involved an officer's disturbing behavior, but also because it raised a fundamental question, when does a virtual crime contemplated in internet chat rooms become an actual crime? There was no evidence that any of the women whom the officer, his name was Gilberto Valle, Valle, was accused of plotting to kill ever harm. I'll read that again. There was no evidence that any of the women whom the officer was accused of plotting to kill were harmed. That's how he got off. Nobody got hurt. But prosecutors argued that the officer took actual steps to further his plot, like conducting surveillance of potential victims. Oh, okay. Mr. Valle, age 28 at the time, he could have received life. I'm speaking in past tense because he didn't go to jail. He could receive life in prison for one count of kidnapping conspiracy when he was sentenced on June 19th. The police department fired him upon conviction. So he was convicted of kidnapping, kidnapping conspiracy. And I think that's where his wife came in. His lawyer, Julia Elgato, Gatto, called the verdict devastating and said the government had not proven its case. This was a thought. This was a thought. These are thoughts, very ugly thoughts, but we don't prosecute. This was a thought prosecution. I doubted myself. This was a thought prosecution, quote unquote, she said. These are thoughts, very ugly thoughts, but we don't prosecute people for their thoughts, and we'll continue to appeal and continue to fight for Mr. Valet. Oh. Okay, there's a picture. So anyway, moving forward, it just goes into the case. Let me scroll down. I don't know. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to it. Oh, there's the picture of her. I would hate to have this case if I was an attorney. But back to this Moose guy. He put the ad out and on the internet like, I want to eat somebody. And Brandes, he was like, okay, me. Oh, God. So, in Moose's advertisement, he said, quote unquote, looking for a normally built 18 to 25-year-old to be slaughtered and then consumed. That's what he put in the thing. Burned. He has a long name. He got a long name. Burned Grujen Armando Brandes, a 43-year-old engineer from Berlin, answered the advertisement in March 2001. Many other people responded to the advertisement but backed out. Muse did not attempt to force them to do anything against their will. So they met. The two made a videotape when they met on March 9th, 2001 in Muse's home in the small town of Westfield. This is a town. 1 second. The W has them little dots on the side, so I don't, on the top. The guy answered it. Here it is here. He answered it, and
Westfield.
West of Rothenburg an der Fulda. This is all in Germany. Look it up. Showing Moose's amputated Brandon's penis in parentheses with his agreement. And the two men attempted to eat it together. Okay, so all right, so let me back up because I have more information in my brain. So what happened was he invited this guy over and they agreed to it. He put a bunch of ice in the tub. And he put Brandes, he put him in the tub to cool him down, to cool his temperature down, because I guess he thought that would be better for the amputation. Oh, and he went ahead and did it. So he testified. Moose was in court testifying how he did it and all of that. He said they agreed to it. He put him in the ice, in the tub with the ice, because he thought it would kind of help with the procedure. And the two men, he put it on video. So he videotaped all this. So this was all shown in court. That's why he got convicted, because his lawyer, okay, I'm switching gears. His lawyer was saying, well, the victim wanted to be eaten, so you can't hold my client responsible if he voluntarily wanted to be eaten. So he was going on that route, but they had the tapes or whatever. But anyway, the tapes show the two attempting to eat the penis together. Before doing so, Brandes swallowed 20 sleeping pills in a bottle of cough syrup, likely causing an effect of slowed breathing and extreme tiredness. Brandes, the victim, initially insisted that Moose attempted to bite his penis off. This did not work, and ultimately Moose used a knife to remove it. Brandes apparently tried to eat some of his own penis raw, but could not because it was too tough and, as he put it, quote unquote, chewy. Moose then fried the penis in a pan with salt, pepper, wine, and garlic. He then fried it with some of Brandes's fat, but by then it was too burnt to be consumed. He then chopped the penis into chunks and fed it to his dog. According to court officials who saw the video, which has not been made public, Brandes may already have been too weakened from blood loss to eat any of the penis. So I was reading some other stuff, and Moose said that he noticed that Brandes was losing consciousness. He was bleeding out. I think that's when he put him in the ice tub because he was trying to fix that or whatever. I don't know. Oh. Moose then ran Brandes a bath before going to read a Star Trek book while checking on Brandes every 15 minutes, during which time Brandes lay bleeding in the bath, drifting in and out of consciousness. After long hesitation and prayer, Moose killed Brandes by stabbing him in the throat, after which he hung the body on a meat hook. The incident was recorded on a 4-hour videotape found online, but the credibility of the screenshots had never been proven. Moose dismembered and ate the corpse over the next 10 months. So he set up and ate this guy. Like for real. Storing body parts in his freezer, under pizza boxes, and consuming up to 20 kilograms, which is 44 pounds of human flesh. According to prosecutors, Moose committed the act for sexual pleasure. Arrest, trial, and manslaughter conviction. So Moose was arrested in December of 2002 when a college student alerted authorities to new advertisements for victims online. Investigators searched his home and found body parts and the videotaping of the killing. So I guess Moose went back online, like, let's do it again type deal. So a college student, first of all, why you on there? But anyway, the college student alerted authorities. Okay. Moose was diagnosed with paranoid, with schizoid personality, but deemed fit to stand trial. On January 30th in 2004, Moose was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 8 years and 6 months in prison. The case attracted considerable media attention. I'm going to stop there. So, and I have a bunch of stuff. So, his mother died when he was 39. And maybe that was, I don't know, maybe that sent him over the edge. He spent much of his youth development. Armin Moose spent much of his youth devouring German fairy tales. Ooh, they got me. He was particularly fond of Hansel and Gretel. We did that. He was a computer tech, got that. His mother died at 39. And that's when he went on the site called the Cannibal Cafe. And after 43 years old, the victim, Brandes, applied with the interest. Moose agreed. The victim left his home in Berlin to go to Moose's home in Rotenburg, Rotenburg, and took the pills and all of that. Moose stated in 2016 with an interview with The Independent that the first bite was, of course, very strange. It was a feeling I can't really describe. I've spent over 40 years longing for it, dreaming about it, and now I was getting the feeling that I was actually achieving this perfect interconnection through his flesh. The flesh tastes like pork, but stronger. We just got off that Jeffrey Dahmer series on Netflix because I've been following that. So I just wanted to see how Netflix would do it. Same, Dahmer was storing and eating and storing and stuff. I'm sorry for the dead noise. I hate dead noise. I'm like, do you want to do this? Anyway, moving forward. When speaking to a German newspaper, Moose admitted cannibalizing Brandon's and expressed regret for his actions. He added that he wants to write a biography with the aim of deterring anyone wanting to follow in his footsteps. Websites dedicated to Muse started appearing after his 2002 arrest, with people advertising for willing victims. We in a sick world. Quote unquote, they should go for treatment so it doesn't escalate like it did with me. That's what he said. While in prison, Moose has since become a vegetarian. He believes there are about 800 cannibals in Germany. So in April 2005, a German court ordered a retrial after prosecutors appealed Moose's sentence, arguing that he should have been convicted of murder because he killed for sexual gratification, a motive proved by his having videotaped the crime. The court ruled that the original trial had ignored the significance of the video and in disproving the argument that Moose only killed because he had been asked to kill. That's how they got him. So the prosecution was like, nope, you taped it, you wanted it, and you sick. And if you wouldn't have taped it, we wouldn't have known. I was about to say something. No. At his retrial, a psychologist stated that Moses could reoffend as he, quote unquote, still has fantasies about devouring the flesh of young people. On May 10th, 2006, a court in Frankfurt convicted Muse of murder and sentenced him to life in prison. So he's in jail. And he don't eat meat no more. So let's get back to Alive, the movie. So now they went on ahead, they crashed. Wikipedia give you the whole. Oh, not now. They're like, nope. The film grossed $36.7 million in the U.S. and Canada, and $4.5 million internationally, for a worldwide total of $82.5 million. I'm not alone. People want to see this. Don't ask us why. I don't know. So, David Anson of Newsweek said that while, quote unquote, Piers Paul Reed's acclaimed book, the book I spoke of a little earlier, paid special attention to the social structure that evolved among the group, Marshall downplays the fascinating sociological details and the ambiguities of the character in favor of action, heroism, and a vague religiosity, good girl, that sprinkled over the story like powdered sugar. So they turned that movie into it was like a good, they made it. They made it. Even though they had to eat their fellow teammates, they made it. A companion documentary, Alive, 20 years later, was released at the same time as the film. It includes interviews with survivors as well as documentary footage of the rescue. The 30th anniversary edition of Alive, The Miracle of the Angels, it's on DVD, includes this documentary in the extra section. I might check that out. So if somebody did a where are they now type of thing, 30 years later. So basically, Moose, he built he fatally stabbed Brandes in the neck before butchering his body. He had a slaughter room that he had built in his home. So that's why you went to jail, because this is all premeditated, hun. You knew what you was doing. He then harvested meat from Brandon's body. He stored the steaks in a secret compartment in his freezer and then went on to eat them for over the next 10 months. Now he said, quote unquote, I fried a piece of rump steak, a piece from his back. During his childhood, Moose began to experiment cannibalistic fantasies from the age of 8. These fantasies involved imaginary brothers he had made up in his teenage years. These figures of his imagination became objects of his sexual desire. That's how they got him. The connection he had for these imaginary figures grew strong, that he yearned for them to be a part of him. Dahmer, that's what Dahmer said. He ate them because he wanted them to be a part of him. Gross. Moose said, then I thought if they would become a part of me, I'd have to eat them. These cannibalistic fantasies only grew stronger as Moose got older. As an adult, he would spend hours on chat rooms and talking to people and stuff like that. The victim, he was 43 years old, engineer from Berlin. He voluntarily responded to an online ad. He traveled there. They both consented to filming everything that took place. That evening, the pair entered the slaughter room where Moose cut off his penis and the two of them began to eat it. Okay, I said that. Bleeding to death, Moose sat and waited for his victim to die, but after 3 hours, Brandes was still alive. Not wanting to wait any longer, he stabbed him in the throat. Where is he now? He is serving a life sentence for the crime he committed in 2001. So he ain't getting out. But he is still allowed to walk through the streets in disguise as a part of a prison release scheme. In 2018, Frankfurt State Court rejected Moore's appeal for permanent release. So he's still in jail, but I don't know. Somebody had a bright idea to let him walk through the streets in disguise as a part of a prison release scheme. Did he try to get out? Who wrote that? Whatever, he's still in jail. That's it, y'all. He regrets it. Now he don't eat meat no more. I'm going back to Wikipedia. Wikipedia. I'm gonna get a nickname for Wikipedia. Wikipedia. It gets into medical aspects, folklore. See, now Wikipedia want to talk now. History, prehistory. Child, we ain't going through this. I'm gonna come up with a nickname. Wikipedia. It goes into, oh my God, Wikipedia. Yeah, y'all got a lot to say about this, and I'm not. Anyway, so, and then I was reading about, I stumbled upon something. There are people, it's a word where you eat your own stuff, even if you alive, like your nails, your skin cells, things like that, your blood. You get a cut on your lip, you might lick it. It's a word for that. It's some of us that eat our own self when we are alive. This is a night I'm off. I gotta go into work in the morning. Anyway, I'm like, whatever. Africa. Cannibalism has been reported in several recent African conflicts, including the Second Congo War and the Civil War in Libya and Syria. Leone. Leone. Jean-Bertal Bokassa. Jean-Bedel, the self-crowned emperor accused of cannibalism. Look at him. He got all his stuff on, saluting. The self-declared emperor of the Central African Empire, Jean-Bedel Bokassa, was tried on October 24th, 1986, for several cases of cannibalism, although he was never convicted. Between April 17th and April 19th of 1979, a number of elementary school students were arrested after they had protested against wearing the expensive government-required school uniforms. Around 100 were killed. The emperor, Bokassa, is said to have practiced in the massacre, beating some of the children to death with his cane, and allegedly ate some of his victims. In June 1987, he was cleared of charges of cannibalism, but found guilty of the murder of school children and other crimes. So you got convicted of killing them, but not eating them. Further reports of cannibalism were reported against the Seleka Muslim minority during the ongoing Central African Republican conflict. Okay, Wikipedia. They take you all the way through. I ain't got time. What time is it? My show coming on. Germany, Indonesia, North Korea, Tibet, United Kingdom, India. Look, people eating people. Now, individual acts. Before 1931, the New York Times reporter William Behill, Buehler Seabrook, in the interests of research, obtained from a hospital intern at the Sorbonne, Sorbonne, a chunk of human meat from the body of a healthy human killed in an accident, then cooked and ate it. He reported, quote unquote, it was like good, fully developed veal, not young, but not yet beef. I've worked with veal. Veal, they're babies. For all of you that, if y'all don't eat veal, they babies. And they expensive. And people like that. It's a thing. Not young, but not beef yet. People, it's a thing. They want them like that, baby. It was very definitively like that, and it was not like any other meat I have ever tasted. It was so nearly like good, fully developed veal that I think no person with a palate of ordinary, normal, sensitiveness could distinguish it from veal. It was mild, good meat with no other sharply defined or highly characteristic taste, such as, for instance, goat, high game, or pork have. The steak was slightly tougher than prime veal, a little stringy, but not too tough or too stringy to be agreeably edible. I forget it. I'm moving on. It gets into the movie Alive. When Hungarian Air Force Flight 571 crashed into the Andes Mountains on October 13th and 72, the survivors reported to eating the deceased during their 72 days in the mountains. Their story was later recounted in the books Alive. A bunch of books. Look it up. On July 23rd of 88, Rick Gibson ate the flesh of another person in public. Because England does not have a specific law against cannibalism, he legally ate a capinet. No, you didn't. Of donated human tonsils in Worcester High Street. Where my girl at? So he was able to get away with this. Anyway, he did this. I just want to get the correct pronunciation of this. So this person did this. This is in, where is it? It's in London. Thank God for technology. Hold on. Okay.
Walthamstow.
Walthamstow. I would have never got that. Thank you, girl. Walthamstow. He legally ate a canape, Canape, with an apostrophe over the E, of donated human tonsils in Walthamstow, High Street, London. A year later, on April 15th in 1989, he publicly ate a slice of human testicle in Lewisham. I could do that one. But I still like that. I still like this girl over here. So you just kept going with it. They let you do it the first time, so you kind of went with it. And it won't talk for me. So you just kept going with it. And I'm about to see what they did to him. I bet he wasn't. There you go.
Lewisham.
Oh, Lewisham. Okay. Lewis, now, he publicly ate a piece of human testicle in Lewisham High Street in London. When he tried to eat another slice of the human testicle at the Pitt International Galleries in Vancouver on July 14th, 1989, the Vancouver police confiscated the testicle hors d'oeuvre. That's what they say. However, the charge of publicly exhibiting a disgusting object was dropped, and he finally ate the piece of human testicle on the steps of the Vancouver courthouse on September 2nd in 89. So you just had to prove a point? Is this like I eat balls and I'm going to stand on the court steps and y'all not going to do nothing about it? In 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer of Milwaukee, he was arrested after one of his intended victims managed to escape. Found in Dahmer's apartment were I saw the whole thing. I've been following it anyway, but this new Netflix, they kind of depicted, they whatever. This one man, he got away. I think there were only 2 survivors, or maybe 1. He may have been the only one. It was a black man that got away. That's how it all went down, really. So when I watched it on Netflix, they did it. They reenacted the whole thing. He had handcuffs on and everything. He got his butt out of there, like for real. He brought the cops back. Then they was like, they found him. They found the heads and bodies and all that stuff. So that's how Dahmer got found out. But you know what? One thing that touched my heart, and I don't know this lady's name real quick. Do I have to? It make me cry every time I see it. There was a victims, that when Dahmer was on trial, they had the victims come up to do their victim statements. And this one black guy, his sister got up there. And they depicted her in the film. And later I read that child came out the woodworks and was like, dang, they didn't even ask me. They didn't even pay me. I'm not being funny. But she did come out and was like, nobody even asked us how we felt about it. And that did. Okay, I'm not. Okay. It just, to the core, every time I see this lady, and I like raw footage, and she got up there, and I swear to God, I could watch it right now, and she make me cry. She got up there because he had killed her brother. I have a brother. And she started off okay, but she just straight lost it. I'm talking, came out the podium, arms flailing, everything. She just was, whew. Ooh. She bring me to tears every time. Oh my God. Let me get her name real quick. Ooh. And the Rita Isbell, Ritaisbell, the sister. That's the sister. That girl. Whew. She got up there. Oh my God, that poor thing. She bring me to tears. Oh, she was just. Oh. There she go. How you feel now? When I found out, her name is Rita Isbell. When I found out I could read a victim impact statement, I knew I was going to let Jeffrey Dahmer have it. I just didn't know what I was going to say. I know, girl, because you got up there. I felt the pain. I hadn't written anything down. If I had, I would have torn it up anyway. It wouldn't have gotten read. That was my first time ever being in front of him. Whatever I thought I was going to say, that didn't happen. It all just came out in the moment. My plans were to get up there and to say how it made my mother feel and what it did. Ooh, let me see if I can get that sound bite. And what it did to her and all that other stuff. But no, when I got in front of him in his face, it was a whole new ball game. I recognized evil. I was face to face with pure evil. Here she go. My name